Keeper International presents Rebuilding the Walls. Bishop Peter Morgan. Rebuilding the Walls.
I was just on approaching my 13th birthday, in fact 2 days before my 13th birthday. And I never became a member of a church because it seemed to me that church was not the answer. It seemed to me that church, to use a big word, was anachronism. It was outdated. It was okay for social reasons, and it's nice to go to church. My father made us go to church, I went to church, and so on. But it never taught me about salvation. And I felt deceived. A little boy. But I felt that, imagine, I was going to church every Sunday. I even got confirmed. And I was a sinner and didn't know it. Wow. And I'm glad you mentioned the top school there. I was at JC. And there was when I got saved, there was a small group of us. And we're still friends today. Yeah. But when we were in school, some of us at JC, some of us at Calabar, some of us at Woolworths, those were the three. We just knew each other. Richard was at Woolworths, or language. But Tony Williams was at Calabar, Saloon was at Woolworths, Winston Bennett, all those guys. And so we grew in our teen years feeding on ICF. And by the way, you surprised. But I was convinced that those were the two major youth groups in the country. And so I was fed in ICF. And grew in ICF, everything I learned, some of the things they're saying, that the habits as a Christian, quiet time, and so on, and studying the Word of God. But I used to just go to churches, and a lot of the churches that I would go to were mainly the brethren churches because they were the strong churches. Then, no, they were the undergirding churches, at least within ICF and so on. Yes. All of those, Roy, Irish, and so on. And then I went to university. And same us guys, all of us went to university together, and we became part of InterVarsity, So we grew through ICF and we were established in InterVarsity. And, we were in the leadership and then ICF in my school, those boys in the other schools, and at the university. And while we were on campus in the university, we had a revival. And in the course of that revival, many of us, most of us, perhaps all of us, had an experience with the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, whatever you call it. But we were failed, we opposed it, until it happened to us. Hallelujah. And then when I got married, or was getting married, I was still on campus. Couldn't wait. I dared not wait. I couldn't wait. You can understand some of it. I decided it's much better to get married. That's better goals. I was back that boy. But when I was getting married, I decided that I better put my wife in church. And at that time, a lot of us from the university used to go down to Bethel, you know, and Bethany, and no, not Bethany, but Bethel, and so on. And so I became a Baptist. I didn't know what Baptists believed. I didn't know anything. It didn't matter to me. It was just filled with some of these guys who were guys that we looked up to. You know, like Roger James and Barrett and Jerry Gallimore and Miller, you know, and so on. And of course, Ted Edwards, who was a pastor, and so on. Why I'm saying this to you, so eventually, when things like the People Life Ministry began, we did not begin in church, and we never, still didn't think church was the answer. And we just met in a hotel and so on, and well, you know, all kinds of stuff happened. So I am a product of ICF and InterVarsity. And although we got into a lot of trouble because of our experience in the Holy Spirit, it was really quite a challenge. But they had meetings in the Caribbean over us, because it's a whole IVCF committee that got mixed up with the Holy Ghost. We didn't know what to do with it. But here's really what happened. We're talking about character. Do you know that because of who we were, all the guys on the board, like Dr. Saxton, like Larry Wade, and all of those guys, they respected us so much as youngsters. Vibrant. And you know what group of us in them. And so we had a lot of discussion, a lot of talks about the Holy Spirit and all that kind of stuff. But they made it very clear that that was not something that InterVarsity was favored to. So we respected them. So after we left campus, we used to meet in my garage. I didn't have a car then, so. Because being married, I had a home, and you know, and so we used to meet in my garage and just continue. These guys were in Church of God and Brethren and all that kind of stuff. They were very comfortable. Bethel accommodated me. But the remarkable thing is that the grounding that we got, the foundation we got from ICF and from InterVarsity, even all those things happened. I was on the board. I saved the island board. In fact, I was vice president, or vice chairman to Dr. Sampson. You know, and in all of that, for me, InterVarsity and ICF was the best thing that ever hit our country. Amen. And when I sat there and talking to Sam, I said, this is a proof of it here. When I see the guys who were sharing, when you were sharing, you know, and Brother Henry and all these guys, and these are stalwarts, all of them, you know, great men of God, and they are in positions today in the nation, and the hope of this country rests in the foundation that was already laid through ICF. But I am eternally grateful for this and for the varsity, and I really praise God for it. It's with that kind of background and with what you shared, Sam, that I want to share what I was asked for, answering the call of Nehemiah, rebuilding the walls. There are three things that struck me in looking at Nehemiah. The nation is a divine construct. Nation is not a man's idea. It's not a politician's design. Nation is designed by God. And I make this statement that fathers dream dreams, but sons build cities. Fathers dream dreams, but their sons build cities. The second thing is that nations are discipled by righteous men. Nations are discipled by righteous men. It's very interesting in that first chapter that Nehemiah talks about the temple that was there. In the same way, in the first statement, he talks about the fathers. Everything he did, he reflected on the fact that the fathers had this vision, had already worked in building a nation, but it needed to be restored. And he said, the temple is now derelict. I want you to know that the sanctuary precedes the state and is responsible for its integrity. These are very important statements that give you a perspective that I will just build on. The sanctuary must precede the state. Read Deuteronomy, read Exodus, read Deuteronomy. First thing God did was to tell Moses, let's build a town. And so on. It's a very interesting process. The third thing is that nationhood is always preserved in, not by, but in the diaspora. It's a principle that's running throughout the scriptures. And I'm piggybacking a little on what Sam was saying, because if we understand the experience of the diaspora, I think he was talking out of his own experience. The reason why you are in the diaspora is because God has a plan. And that plan for this nation will never be achieved without you. We break that down a little. You see, God always prepares a core. C-O-R-P-S, not C-O-R-E, but same. But prepares a core off-site in order to repair a nation on-site. There's a reason for that. Alright, let's go on. Let's look a little on the significance of the diaspora. God scatters his people to gain, so that they can gain the experience of global cultures. So you're not bound to a myopic vision of what your mama and your grandmother told you. In the diaspora, men and women gained the recognition and favor of other nations. I hope that's true, you know. Don't get lost in there. Those who leave their homeland are separated from being part of the problem. At a distance, we can better discern the forest from the trees. In other words, you can discern what's happening in there, and you don't just say, oh, it's just people. But when you're away and you look back, you can analyze and discern between the forest and the trees. And the citizens of the diaspora, listen to this, preserve the heart of the nation to drive the mind of the state. I'm making a distinction between a nation and a state. The nation remains in the heart of a people. Once you're born here, you can go to Germany, Australia, US, Canada, wherever. If your neighbor's string buried here, the heart of a nation remains with you. Jamaicans. That's the significance of the diaspora. I'm laying that, but I'm not going to spend time on it. That's one of the three things that I mentioned in the previous frame. Now, the responsibility of the saints. God always builds his temple first in order to establish the presence of his throne to rule amongst men. It's very important. You have to be concerned with and preoccupied with the temple, which houses the presence of God. But we explain what the temple is. The faithfulness of the sacred saints is what guarantees the security and prosperity of the secular state. Notice the secular state. We live in a nation, but there's a difference between a nation and a state. The state is the systems and the structures and the walls and the functions within the nation. God restored the temple and its law word through Ezra before he called Nehemiah to rebuild the state walls, structures, systems, and governments. And I'm so glad you mentioned these other guys, because it struck me that we can't really understand fully the context and the significance of Nehemiah without having read Ezra and Esther. The end of nations is that the kingdoms of this world will become the kingdom of our God and of His Christ. But I'm not going to spend any more time on this. Here's what I want to focus on in rebuilding the walls. All of this can come for me to get next year. Sons rebuild the walls to fulfill their father's dreams. That is really what I want to challenge us about here today, especially when we consider the experiences we have had. For me, from the 1950s, some of you from the 1970s. But there are fathers who laid the base. There are men and women who saw something in the future. And it's for the next generation to build it. By the way, I was his son, but I'm no father. So sons do become fathers. I just want us to know that we go from generation to generation. Jesus was sent as the Son of God. But he's fathering the church. Why? Because by his word, the sperm, we have become sons of God. His sperm, that's the actual word that is used. The guys will understand what I'm talking about. So, here's what I want us to focus on. That there is a reference to fathers. Nehemiah did what he did because he remembered the promises. He remembered everything that the fathers had laid out. In his prayer, he was appealing to the covenant of God. And then he was able to access God's resources from the nations. How many of you know that the wealth of the nations don't belong to them? They have only got a hold of it, but it all belongs to the Lord. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the whole world, and those that dwell therein. So, when Nehemiah wanted to get some resources, he prayed. And God sent him, or set it up, so that the king would release resources for him. That is God's grace. And he engaged the people of the diaspora to work together as one. And how did he like that? And he had to resist the envy of enemies. Because when we succeed, a lot of people don't like it. That's right. But we don't have to worry. Because we are well taken care of. And the nation that he was rebuilding began with walls. But it didn't end with walls. It's only the beginning. And I want us to move from just the brick upon brick and talk about the walls as structures, systems, organizations that constitute a nation. That in our time, in our country, we can say, just like Nehemiah said, we can weep and say that the walls have been broken down. So, I want to move. This is what I want to focus on, the fact that we now are people who have benefited from the legacy of ICF InterVarsity, and the other one is the secretary. I can speak in terms of and that's our responsibility. We are the firstborn of God. You do know that? Yeah. Yeah, we are the firstborn. In the kingdom, there are no secondborns. But Jesus is the firstborn. He was the only begotten of the Father, and then it says, you know, he wasn't ashamed to call us brothers. So at least, as the only begotten, he was able to say, all authority is given to me. But because we believed in him, and received Him and the Spirit in us, then we became brothers. So at least only 2/3 of the inheritance belonged to Jesus. And the other third is split among ourselves. But no, Paul explains that we're not just heirs, we're joint heirs with Christ. So everything that belongs to Christ as the firstborn belongs to us. His divine power has made available all that pertains unto life and unto godliness. Now, I take my example from Israel. As Sam said, God built a nation, called forth a people to become an example nation to the nations of the world. And in my own personal study, I have looked on how God strategized to develop this people. From Abraham, when he called Abraham to become the father of a nation and of nations, right until David, who was the epitome and the example of a kingdom, brilliant king. And there are 4 areas, 4 things he developed. It took a couple of centuries. One is what I call an ethno-domestic construct. When he called Abraham, he called a family. So he birthed Abraham. It was birthed in Abraham, who was called the father of nations. So nations are rooted in family, not in politics. But Abraham never built a city, never built a nation, but he preserved the vision through his sons. And as we heard, the experience of Joseph is really critical for us to understand how God will take a son who was not a firstborn and make him become firstborn. Because as you know, eventually the firstborn was not reckoned after the birthright. But that's another point. And then, when they went into, when they came out of Egypt, and they spent 40 years in the wilderness, they developed what we may call a socio-judicial construct. That is, how a nation can develop and be constructed on the strong base of a socio-judicial principles. Alright? Designed and led by Moses, the deliverer, and the prophet. This is very important. Thirdly, when they went into the promised land, that's really when they began to develop their economic structure and system. That should not be socio-economic. It should be geo-economic. Take out the socio and put geo, because God gave them land to develop and to bring prosperity. And every nation has a capacity for prosperity. So that phase was the phase of Joshua and the judges. And then the civil political construct, administered by the ideal shepherd king. Here's why I'm giving you these 4, because really what I want us to do, if we are going to make a difference in our country, then I'm suggesting to you that you need some strategic plans to be developed around these 4 constructs. So let's look at them a little bit. First of all, rebuilding the walls of the family. See, fathering is not necessarily by an individual father. It contains the seed that is sown into the heritage of a people, preserved in posterity for the development of a nation. In other words, when we look back on our country, we're looking back at Bustamante. We're looking back at Manley. We're looking back at the guys that we may call the fathers of this nation. So, we can't just go and start it all over again. We need not. There are men who have dreamt. There are men who have labored. There are men who have struggled. There are men and women who have given their lives to sow the seeds. The question is, what are we going to do about it today? We as sons are called to preserve the heritage of our fathers. We as sons are responsible to build the legacy of our fathers. Do you know there is a foundation? Acts 17 tells us that nationhood is rooted not in politics or not in kings, but in fatherhood. It's something that we rediscover. See, we have borrowed from the world and think that if we want a nation, we need to vote in a politician. Or if we want a nation, we need to appoint a king. That was the same mistake the Jews made. And they said, we want kings just like the other nations. But nationhood, one of the first words for nation is ethnos. That is rooted in seed, family. Okay? He has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and has determined their appointed times, the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grow for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as also some of the prophets have said. Paul says, for this reason I bow my knees to the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, from whom the whole family in earth, in heaven and on earth is named. It is my view that the most significant feature of mankind, which distinguishes us from the rest of creation, is that we were made as sons of God. He's not just our creator, he's our Father. And we possess his DNA, which comes by way of the Spirit. No other creature can claim that. No monkey, no elephant, no rat. All sons are created in the image and likeness of their Father and are mandated to honor the heritage of their fathers and to preserve the legacy of their dreams. That's what, by the way, I'm being gender. That's not, sons don't just mean men. You know that? No? Okay. And the greatest revelation in the Old Testament concerning nations is that they have their origin in fathers, not in priests, not in prophets, nor in kings, nor in politicians, nor in businessmen, but they are built by faithful sons. And listen to this. These are just these, the greatest revelation of the New Testament. Oh, what that is of God as our Heavenly Father. Do you know that is what Jesus Christ came to do? To reconcile us back to the Father. I mean, we preach the gospel in so many different ways, but we don't understand that really what happened to us in the garden is that we became orphans. And we've been running around in valleys and in in forests and deserts and all over the place, creating our own. But we will never be satisfied until we rediscover ourselves in our Father. That's what it's all about. Okay? Now, so basically what I'm saying is, and we can piece that out at another time, that if you are giving attention to developing this nation, don't begin with the economic situation. Don't begin with the crime problem. Don't begin with the education problem. Don't begin with business. Don't begin with family. Because you can become prosperous and the cycle goes all over again. You lose it. Because the problem of our nation is that we have destroyed family. I wonder, we need a whole conference on that. Talk about how is family the root of nationhood. Well, instead of the state, by the way, I said of the nation. Because I become prime minister, it'll be my son have to become prime minister. That's a state. Engagement in the operations of the state means occupation. Jesus says, occupy until I come in, and he wasn't saying, take up space. It means you got to do business. You have to invest your labor with the resources to produce, with the determination to profit. All of that. You could have learned that in economics and where about 6 or but I didn't get it from there. I got it straight from an example of how God built his nation, Israel. Governing in the state means that you have to rule within the marketplace with executive leadership. It's time for us to become executive leaders. Get promoted. With legislative insight. It's time for you to determine policies. With judicial wisdom. It's time for you to become a mediator. Solve problems. Go in the community. Set up your court. I'm talking about actually governing the state. I wrote this because this is how I feel. And you could write it for yourself. You need to write yours. This is what I read. Fathers of this nation and fathers of the church. I feel that I'm in a place I can't call myself a son. I'm tired. I talk. I encourage. All my children are in full-time work. My biological children and spiritual children. That's what I am here to pour every single thing that I have, that I am. Like my mother used to say, die empty. But I don't need to die because I still have a lot of stuff. You see? But I'm pouring it out. You see? I want you to understand that the fathers of this nation and the fathers of this church, meaning also the ministries like ICF and so on, they have sacrificed themselves in the liberation of this nation. I wish we could honor Dr. Samson.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what he has really done? Not only in education, I'm talking about in the kingdom. Do you know he was a sportsman? When I went to camp, after a few years, I became a counselor. And every counselor had a name for a camp name. Dr. Sanson was called sports. Anybody know that? Do you know what that was called? Little sport. I feel honored. I'm telling you, in another setting where I talk about mentoring, Dr. Sanks was a mentor to me and he didn't know. I just used to draw from him, admired him, and looked at him. I watched him in the education field. I went to education up there too. You know, I watched him in sports. I didn't see him, but I read about him and I knew about him. And I watched him as he guided young men and young women and stayed in ICF, IBCF on the board. I don't know if he's still on it. But I'm saying to you that guys like these have sacrificed themselves. You must honor them. You see? They have sacrificed themselves in the liberation of this nation, for the establishment of a new people, and have left a heritage and bequeathed a legacy upon which now this generation must build a new culture with new values to fulfill the dreams and visions of the past and reflect the providential will and purpose of God for this nation and for the peoples of this region and for the nations of the world. That's how I feel.
Amen.
That's what I feel. And this is the promise that I think God has left us with. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said to me, you are my son. This day have I begun. Ask him, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, the ends of the earth for your possession. My personal nation dream as a father. I'm sharing these things with you because I want you to do it for yourself. To create a society and culture which upholds and practices righteousness and justice, and an environment for the effective evangelization of the people, so that God's kingdom of peace and prosperity may be released upon the whole nation.
Amen.
I can end it, but you'll feel much better if you write your own. Just rest a little bit and ask yourself, am I still alive?
Yes. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not. I don't want to go through this. I just thought, if we were going to be planning and so on, I just put some things down as pointers. Write down a vision with mission goals for your life, your family, and your church organization. 2, commit to father your own family from home, and to honor your home along with your wife or husband. 3, design a strategy to transform your community and build your nation along with other covenanted leaders. These to include 4 programs. I like these 4 programs because I think they're critical. And that I think they are a responsibility of the church. 1, a mentorship program to build leaders committed to community, civic, and national leadership. I wonder if you could do that. Build a mentorship program. 2, an education program to guide parents to lead their children towards self-awareness, discovery of purpose, and equipping with skills for vocational service. It's not an education program for GC, it's an education program for the PTA. 3, a health program to ensure a healthy lifestyle among your friends within the church and to foster a healthy environment. We do not put enough emphasis on health. A lot of us are living around and won't last. We need to help. And 4thly, an entrepreneurial program to develop business and marketing skills to facilitate investment and economic prosperity within the Christian community. Those are just some thoughts and ideas. Brothers and sisters, remember, fathers dream dreams, but sons live them. I think that's all I have to say, but gradually together, each one will make it. Together, each one